Hi, my name is Jamie Lee, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Go Happy Yourself. So why am I here, and why should you be here? Well, it seems like for my whole life, I was the person that my family and my friends came to for advice. I don't know why, because I certainly didn't have it figured out. I still don't, but I think what it is, my cousin told me like many years ago, is like, no matter what happens to you, you always maintain this positive attitude. And trust me, I've been through some things. And I realized that was true. And I wondered what made that different between me and everyone else. So a few years ago, I went through some training and I became a life coach to put some education behind what I was feeling. And I thought I would become a life coach, but I really never took that road. I just always, I don't know, I always felt like I just wanted to do something on a grander scale and help more people. I thought that I had a purpose on this planet to be more to more people. I still don't know what that purpose is, but anyway, I realized that, through my life, that nobody or nothing can make you happy. And that seemed to be the going theme between everybody that I talked to in the few coaching clients that I had and my family. When I said, what do you really want out of life? And they would just tell me, I just want to be happy. And I wanted to know, like, we all want to be happy, right? And how do we go about doing that? And that is the real truth, that nothing and nobody can make you happy. And that's the bad news. But the good news is that everything you need to be happy, you already have. And it's right in here. So that's the theme of this. And why now is because I am sitting here in my home in Florida that I bought on my own, and it's beautiful and I love it, and I have a good job that pays well. I have a boss that I adore on the daily, and I moved here in 2020 in January, right before the pandemic hit. And I should say that I live in Melbourne, Florida, and when I moved here, I moved for this job, and I knew it was a new job, and I knew no one. I moved to a new neighborhood. I started with a new company, although it's a former boss, so I knew him, and I knew nobody, but I was so excited because I felt the potential of what could be. And then the pandemic hit, and we were literally locked up, still kind of locked up, not physically, but, fear-based. And, that put a hold on everything. So most people in my company were sent home, and they worked from home for a good portion of last year. I chose not to work from home, and my boss chose not to work from home. So thank goodness, because I think that's the only thing that probably saved me last year, is that I actually got out of the house and I went to the office, and I did have some, interaction with other people. Most of the executives were in. And so, I did get to see people. I live in a new neighborhood, and I did, meet my neighbors, but what was a very social neighborhood stopped. You know, everybody was in their house, and you might see people if you walked, but I really didn't even do a lot of walking because at the very beginning of the pandemic, it was very fearful, you know, so I wouldn't even go to the supermarket because I was afraid, you know, and so I didn't even leave my house. I went to work, I drove home, and I stayed there. On the weekends, I never left the house, which was fine. You know, I'm basically an introvert. So I like my alone time, and, you know, being home on the weekends in a new place was fine because I was just getting settled. You know, the bad thing was, like, I needed to hire people to come in and do things. I live alone. Um, and I was fearful to have people come into my home. And I was also, and, you know, there was also a shortage of people because they were fearful to go into everybody's home. So things kind of stalled. And, you know, as the pandemic went on and on and on, it became more of a challenge. And as we got into September and October, it started to wear on me. So it took a while, you know, where most people were like done with it by summer. By September, October, you know, I was really starting to feel it. And the holidays were coming up, and I will say that, you know, Thanksgiving has really never been one of my favorite holidays. I will say since my mother passed away, but when it, you know, it just became really all about food and not about Thanksgiving, I kind of, you know, turned off to it. So I thought Thanksgiving would not bother me at all. And it turns out that it did. And then, and so I started to become like a little bit down. And then, you know, Christmas I knew was going to be bad, and it was. The only thing that saved me is I did have a visit from my aunt, and my uncle and my cousin came the day after Christmas, so that was something to look forward to. And but then, you know, a good friend of mine had a tragedy in her family, and you know, I did get to see her, but it was for a very sad reason. So, you know, starting in the new year, I was like, okay, you know, we have to make some changes, because this is not going to work. And, you know, I just kept thinking that, okay, as soon as we get this vaccine, you know, we'll get things going. And it took longer. You know, I'm 62, so I wasn't in the elderly group yet, but I wasn't in the group that was to be vaccinated when the vaccine became available. So it was just, you know, everything was on pause. I did start going out to the supermarket, but I was not going anywhere. I was not traveling. I was not even, you know, I would go to the supermarket, but I wouldn't go shopping unless there was something that I, you know, had to do. And I'm gonna tell you, it was rough. The one good thing that I did during the pandemic was, you know, so March through October was, you know, basically in the home, and I was doing what everybody else does when I was home, and I was sitting on the sofa and I was watching TV, and I was binge watching, and I'm gonna say binge eating. And you know, I'm sure everybody else did the same thing, you know, put on a few pounds. And at the end of August, I fell in my shower, and it was bad. Like, I really hurt myself. I hurt my foot. I slammed my head on the tile, and it scared me. It scared me. My foot was really bruised up immediately, even in the shower as I stood up. It blew up to the size of a golf ball, and it hurt immediately. I had a bruise up my shin, but that isn't what scared me. Is I slammed my head on the tile, and I could feel it, but I was afraid because it hit with such force that I didn't know what damage I had done. And I probably wouldn't have been so afraid of that because I literally have not been to the doctor since 2004. Don't follow my lead. But I had been through this when I was caring for my dad. He had a little fall with a little bump on his head and ended up with a subdural hematoma. We almost lost him. So I was very fearful that I might have done some damage. So I hightailed it to the doctor that day. But to add insult to injury, when you go to the doctor, they make you step on the scale. And I had gained some weight, and I did not like that. So it took me, the better portion of a month to get my act together. And I went back to my good old fail-safe for losing weight, which was the Atkins diet, low carb. And, we'll go into that in, another video if you guys decide to stick around. But so during the rest of the pandemic, I have managed to, as of today, lose 45 pounds. So pat on the back to me. So, coming out of this pandemic where most people have, gained about 20 pounds, I've lost 45. So, that's the good news, what the pandemic did for me. But, it's also given me some time to, reflect and think about what I want to do. And I figured that I would bring this out to YouTube because I know that I can't be the only one going through this. So I figured that I would put this out there, and if any of you are going through what I'm going through, that we could do it together and figure it out together. So literally a couple of years ago, I was going through some things with, I was caring for my dad, which is, if anybody's done it, it's a really, really, really stressful situation. And I was feeling it bad, and I knew I needed help, okay? And I didn't know if I needed to go the therapy route or if I needed to get a life coach. And what in my head was how I thought the difference was, I in my head, I put therapy as, here I'm going to be talking about you. You'll have a sympathetic ear because a therapist is there for you and you only. And, you can talk about whatever you want. And, I've been that route before, and it's great. But, you talk about everything from, when you're in diapers to today, and you rehash the past and relive it. And I felt like I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to live in the past. Whereas a coach, a life coach, will meet you where you are, will, listen to the things that you feel are holding you back, which may be from your past, but is going to slap you on the butt and say, let's move to the future. What are we going to do from here on? And so, I was talking to my friend, Noelle. Hey, Noelle. And she recommended a life coach to me, Rick Gabrielli. Hi, Rick. And so Rick was that person, and he took no prisoners. He kicked me in the butt, and he, made me move forward. And during like the worst part of my life, which was the caregiving and eventually losing my dad, he took me through it. And at the end of it, I had, and it was literally at the end of it because my dad passed away like 5 days before this came out. I literally wrote the book on Go Happy Yourself. Don't buy it. Do not buy it, because I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know that's in it for free, and whatever resources are in the book, I'm going to give you for free as soon as I figure out the technology piece of this whole YouTube thingy. But we'll figure it out and we'll get it to you. The whole thing about Go Happy Yourself is figuring out what exactly would make you happy, okay? And the same thing as with when you're trying to lose weight is acknowledging where you are now. So, if you're in your head thinking, oh, I'm okay, because you haven't stepped on the scale in, 20 years, and, it creeps up on you, and, I'm still okay. I'm in the same clothes I wore last year, but, you're 5 sizes bigger than you were 20 years ago. The first thing is to acknowledge where you are. So when you're losing weight, you got to get on the scale and see that number and have a reality check. And it's the same thing as when you want to be happy. You have to know exactly where you are on your happiness meter. And that's what I put in the book, is like how we get to where we are, how we sit down and we measure the level of happiness that we have right now, and see where we are and where we want to go, and then what steps can we take to finally get there. So if you stay with me, we're gonna get there, because I'm certainly not where I am right now. I thought I would be. I mean, I think everybody thinks, no matter what age they are, that they think they should be happier or, farther along in their career than they are. But, I really believe we are where we are by design, and we're put where we are because we're supposed to learn a lesson or do something, and, maybe we can figure it out together. So this channel will be that. I don't know how it'll develop. What I will tell you is that I am never going to sell you anything. Even the book, I'm not selling you this book. There may come times where I will recommend things to you, and I will put links, and I will be 100% honest with you right now. I think there's money to be made by like affiliate links. I know nothing about how to do that. I know nothing about it. I'm going to try to figure it out, because, hey, if I can make some money and then you can make some money with it, let's all do that, because, like, I don't know anybody that doesn't need a little more money. But anyway, I'm not here to sell you anything. And if I do figure out how I'm going to monetize this thing, I will let you know, because I believe in full disclosure. So I will let you know. And if I put links out there to something, you're absolutely under no obligation to follow any links that I put out there. This is not what this channel is about, honestly. It's really about me helping myself to go happy myself, and hoping that in my travels to happying myself, that I can help you on your journey to happy yourself, because everything you need, you already have. So I hope you'll subscribe and follow me, and we will figure it out together. So until the next time, go happy yourself. Bye.